Diana liberated, an army triumphant, and the Senate elated. This was the state of the Confederation after news broke that Operation Liberatio was a success. And it was truly a triumph, as in under just 2 days the Confederate army had swept across the surface, annihilated all opposition, and in return had taken less than 10 casualties. At the head of this triumph was the leader of the force sent to liberate Diana, Praetor Caeso Mutius, a populist reformer and expansionist. He served in the Great War and was now seen as a war hero, and with this latest victory his popularity would rise. His popularity extended to the consuls and senators who originally authorized the operation, and now the military, supported by an overwhelming majority, was looking to build on this success by continuing its wars under the ideals of liberating humanity's lost settlements. So, plans were drawn up for the invasion of Apollo and for potential actions to be taken against the Ares technocracy. But before such actions could take place, the military would have to undergo a significant overhaul, as it was becoming increasingly apparent that the current military apparatus would not be able to support the ambitions of the new Confederate government. And so, under the direction of Consul Caecilius Horatio and newly elected Praetor Lucius Canis, the military would be reorganized and expanded. This expansion would include massive overhauls to the ranking structure, recruitment of new officer candidates, construction of new war vessels, and an entirely new doctrine to lead the Confederate armed forces forward with the long-term goal of providing a competent officer corps, a strong military, and the institutions needed to wage a war against their primary enemy, the Ares technocracy. To complete such an expansion, 2 pieces of legislation were proposed on the Senate floor. First, the Naval Reorganization Act, and second, the Naval Expansion Act. Both acts would need to be agreed upon by the Senate, and while many supported them, there was a vocal minority who did not, fearing that the Senate would hand too much power to the military and subsequently drain the Treasury in the process. This minority would not change the outcome of the Senate's vote, however, and both pieces of legislation would swiftly be enacted, with a go-ahead given for military high command to begin its reforms. And with that, a gathering storm would soon stir, as the military would begin to focus on fortifying strongholds within the inner system for the planned invasion of Apollo, an invasion which estimates say would cost tens of thousands of lives. But with success at Diana and staunch militarists in the Senate, war seems ever closer as the ambition of a few men takes hold over the resurgent Confederation. Welcome back to Shattered Empire. As seen in the intro, we have a lot to talk about, considering the Naval Reorganization and further increase in armament and potential for shipbuilding. Now, the first thing I want to go through the episode is going to be the fact that we will be reorganizing the naval command structure. This is brought on by Praetor Lucio Canis and was originally foresworn by him. And has now been enacted and proposed within the confines of the law, as well as the Military Reorganization Act of 2181. This will go into effect 2181. It's going to be September 16th, 2180. That was the last episodes. But just if I say, we'll have Optios, which will be like lieutenant commanders. We will then have Centurii, Primus Centurii, Triarch, Navarch, Praefecti Navalis, Tribunus, and Legatus. With all those roles, they will need jobs, and those jobs have now been filled up by an extensive logistics office, as well as naval organization list, with various commands built under them. So, for example, we have the Logistics Command, Naval Command, Science Command, and Industrial Command, all under the Confederate Navy as a whole. Each of these commands then contain officers or flotillas, which they then command and liaison with and handle regarding the situation that they need to be dealt with. Moving forward within our own military and naval construction and new designs and new productions, we have new developments. First, the design of the Harriet-class frigate. Many days have been, and the Harrier class frigate as well as the Owl class frigate, many days have been brought into designing a vessel that could be used with current era technology that could prove at least somewhat effective against enemy forces. And so the Harrier class frigate was designed, as well as the Owl class frigate, with the Harrier focusing on 8 6-inch naval guns, providing it with a significant capability, utilizing a speed of 3,000 kilometers per second, which is around fleet standard and about double of what the aristocracy does, and that was the main design consideration in this regard, as well as 4 reactors to power its 8 guns, but a significantly lowered sensor suite. While the Owl will have a much larger sensor suite and will be able to be built immediately without research, the Harrier needing the carronades to be researched first, which are in research currently. The Owl class will be using many different kinds of sensors, as well as point defense turrets to provide point defense capabilities, as well as sensor capabilities to the main fleet. As also seen in the intro, we had successfully taken Diana and had essentially colonized it, and now we move to look towards Apollo. In that regard, I have decided as consul that we are going to meet up with the 1st Expeditionary Fleet, which is going to take the 2nd Military Transportation Squadron back over with ground forces, with more forces, and we're going to go for a potential invasion of Apollo. Now, the 2nd Expeditionary Fleet will be supporting that, and that is led by Praetor Caesius Mutius, war hero as he is, apparently, even with the blunders he made in the last episode, nearly causing the entire operation to go off its rails, but no one talks about that. Once that has been arrived, the main plan will be for the fleet to head towards Apollo. Once arrived towards Apollo, we will assess surface-to-orbit weapon potentialities, and if such potentialities are found, we will attempt to eliminate them at all costs, and once eliminated, we will then begin an estimation on if it is possible for a ground invasion. Currently, though, we're in the process of military reorganization for many of our ground forces, specifically in how we format our entire armies, but I believe that we can take Apollo. It will just require a lot of sweat, blood, and tears to do so. And in that effect, we're going to need a lot of forces. So it's likely we're going to bring 2 regiments as well as the 2 heavy support groups for a total of 150,000 tons of ground forces, while leaving 50,000 tons at the colony. So let's start incrementing along here, and let's get this stuff done. So 3-hour increments. We've got the 2nd Military Transportation Squadron currently heading back, as well as the Altanin, which is heading back as well. I've also been ordered by the Senate as part of the 2181 budget for various things. So this is for the 2181. And then we'll also be expanding some shipyards in 2181 as well when possible with the approved budget that we will be needing. We should be finishing off some of this construction here very shortly, so that is always very nice to see. 2nd Military Transportation Squadron is rising. Oh yes, we also had issues on Diana in terms of occupation force. This is because there's one settlement that we landed force on, and there's another which actually has the population on. So I'm going to have to order the Troop Transportation Department. Where is it? I believe it's here, which needs to go into the Troop Transport Office. I need, where is there? We have troop transports that are currently available over. It should be available. Yeah, the Cyclops is the one we want. The Cyclops, we should be able to. There we go. It's there. So we're going to take the Cyclops. We're going to load the ground forces that we deployed onto the planet. So in this case, I'm going to load the 34th Regiment. We actually can't load the full regiment, can we? So I'm just going to load up militia, specifically because we can just load the militia. We'll load up 2 units of militia on here, unload them onto this colony, and then we have no issues whatsoever. There we go, and that should now sort out the occupation value. So if we have a look at the occupation value now, there we go, we're able to suppress these people. And eventually, over time, this status will get better. So as you can see here, we have an imperial population on New Solaris, but on Diana, it's currently conquered. We'll need to get that to higher to be able to raise our political stability and get people working to where they need to work. Now the Alatan just finished up its work. We had been surveying many of the inner planets, but we haven't been able to survey Apollo, of course, because we detected another nation's signature on Apollo, which of course quite scary to think about. So instead, I'm gonna have this vessel, the Alatan, survey the bodies nearest currently to New Solaris, so that will be New Jupiter in particular. First expeditionary fleet currently waiting. We're currently waiting for the arrival of the second transportation group. The Acucci class vessel we've detected, commercial vessel from what we can tell from sensor readings. First expeditionary group is completed shore leave, which is lovely to hear. And we've gone over to Ares now. New ship class has been detected, so yeah, there we go. May not want to do Ares, I'll be real. But they're not demanding us to leave. So as we can see here, so they have 6 military vessels. 8 military. Jarvin. Was the Jarvin? No, the Jarvin wasn't what that was. So 6, 9, 11, 12. So we estimate 12 total military vessels. They seem to not really care about the fact that we're just going to be surveying their planet. Which is a good thing, I will admit. I would rather we don't start an all-out war immediately, though that could potentially happen. No, I want the second military transportation group to load more than that. So, transport 4th, 5th. Go over to New Solaris. We're going to load up the 35th Infantry Regiment. Do we need the 35th? No, we want the 36th, because we've already loaded up the 36th. From what I can tell anyway. So we're going to load up the 36th. And as far as I understand, that is the current situation regarding our forces. Apparently not, so I'm going to not load that. We're going to be loading up the 35th Infantry. And then I'm also going to need to load up, so that'll be 50,000 tons. We're going to load up 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th Militia. And then we're going to take them over towards Apollo. Yeah, we're going to take them over towards Apollo as well as Diana and all the other places. So we're going to move to that location. I'm going to order, I am going to detach this group, and I'm going to bring those into the reserves over here. So there's our reserves, and I'm just going to send the first expeditionary fleet with the 3 command ships over directly towards Diana, and that'll take them 4.8 days. They go very, very, very fast in comparison to all the other vessels, which is quite interesting when you think about it. Okay, heading this way. First expeditionary fleet's already arrived. So before the troops actually arrive towards the location, we're going to head directly towards Apollo. Now this could be extremely risky considering the fact they may have surface-to-air weapons, they may have other weapons, we are unsure at this time. But I believe that we should be able to handle it. So EM signature detected of 10,000. Now if we have a look over at Ares, for example, I'm going to also turn on group contacts here. If we have a look at Ares, they have an EM signature of 12,000. So this is a world that is similar in size and scope towards Ares, and so we have to keep that in mind. Okay, we're closing in. We detect a ground force signature of 138,000 tons. That is significant. If we were to invade, that would be with the forces that we've assigned. That would be a 1-to-1, which generally does not end up well. Now we have to be careful here because I believe if they have surface assault weapons with the size of their planet, there's very, very high potentiality. But I believe in our fleet. I believe they'll be able to destroy those weapons. We detected an active sensor signature of some kind. which would indicate that there is, it would indicate to us that there is going to be enemy forces of some kind. As in that there are surface-to-air weapons, because only surface-to-air weapons have that capability. So we have to be careful here. Here we go. So, as Consul currently in command of the fleet, with the Praetor currently assisting, we will be essentially going into fire now, likely. Weapons should now be readied and prepared to open a fire on the enemy forces. And in that possession, ready to deliver the hand of the Confederation, which is this command squadron, to the enemy. We're closing. We're about 700,000 kilometers out now. Closing within 400,000, 300,000, 297,000, 177,000. We've been hit. The Resilience has taken 3 hits towards itself, with 99% of its armor still remaining. Looks like we're still fine to continue. Hold your position, for now anyway, and begin bombarding the enemy forces. For some reason we cannot see the surface-to-orbit weapons on the planet, but we have been hit. I told it to move to Ares, that's not why I want to move it to. I want to move to Apollo. The DSS, the Kelio, begin opening fire onto those forces. Open fire, assign that to the fleet, and we're going to start firing our own. Estimated civilian casualties 800. We killed 800. Yeah, looks like we killed like 1,000 civilian casualties, unfortunately. We are not able to avoid that, but we are being shot at, so there we go. Resilience has been hit, but I believe we're confident in being able to destroy the surface-to-orbit weapon capabilities of our opponents, as they do not seem to be very strong. So I'm going to redirect STO fire for our main weapons, 3.4%. We continue to be hit. I'm not going to just keep our fleet here to be hit. So I'm going to order the fleet to move towards the moon, Erastus. Move towards that location. There we go. We're destroying installations, but civilian casualties are piling up, which is never nice. 55 energy weapon impacts, and we've destroyed the surface-to-orbit weapons with the firepower of the Resilience. In exchange, we took sporadic armor hits onto the main weapons, and from the intelligence report, we estimate these were relic surface-to-orbit cannons, potentially some kind of old installations that still remain somewhere. Either way, we should now be completely fine. The question is do we mount an invasion attempt? Estimates are still 137,000 in regards to total ground force strength. Well, at minimum, we're going to have to wait for troop transports to arrive, and that may take quite a bit of time. But we have dealt with the surface-to-orbit weapons, which is a victory for the Resilience, and it's quite good. We made moderate progress with the Alpha Centauri aliens. Oh yes, apparently we're trying to attempt communication. The race identifies itself. So yeah, this is humanity's loss. These are the rebels, the people who are against us in many ways, or are terrorists or non-associated. So we've just surveyed Ares. They've allowed us to actually survey it, which is really, really interesting. So if we go over to Ares, you can see what they have. Corundium, uranium, neutronium, corbamite, titanium, basically everything. It's a homeworld planet. It's got practically everything, generally speaking here. We're now going to survey New Jupiter to find out what we can find from the planet itself. Further issues, and it should be finishing up the survey. We're now surveying the actual planet itself. Second military transportation squadron is almost here. I'm going to have the second expeditionary fleet on the Praetor Cassius Mutius immediately begin escort duty of the squadron. So I'm going to join that as a subfleet to begin escorting it over just to ensure its safety. Military transportation launch is on the way, and we're now in November. We have completed construction of the necessary infrastructure that we needed. We're also now producing scavenge control systems. We're producing more construction factories, which will be done on the 30th of August, 2181. And furthermore, if I have a look at the budget, we will have to be building even more components to be able to support military infrastructure spending, which will relate to various different components. So one of those components is going to be the basic revamped reactor core, and that will require the use of 3 of them at 25% to be queued. The standardized search detection system will also have to be researched here, which, if I can have a look, should be this. So we're going to build 2. And then we need a basic thermal and basic navigational as well. And then we want the basic Corvette E-Pulse engines. Specifically, these engines are the ones we want. So we want to build 6 of those at 25. Okay. Transports are moving in towards Diana now, which we'll be using as a staging point. Whoa. Military transportation. Something strange is happening with that. Well, we'll wait. There's not really much use for me doing anything else. We also have some junior people in command who need to be replaced. We'll get that done as soon as possible. Triarch, Naval Admin Commands. We need a minimum rank of PRN, or Prefecta Navalis. We also will need Navarchs. And those Navarchs will need to be assigned accordingly. So, not many Navarchs around at the moment. But we can bully inhabitants in command of the resilience. You're in command of the science command. Okay, that should be good now. Here we go. So we have to get the second military transportation fleet back. Oh, the Zealous is out of fuel. Oh, that's because we bought the bloody thing with it. Ah, tactical blunders here from Casey and Mutius again. Which does seem to tend to happen quite frequently, I will admit. So. And so now I'm going to have the tanker head towards the group, join a subfleet. And we're going to need to refuel our own fleet accordingly. Shouldn't take too long to reach. Okay, second military squadron should now be done, and we should be able to get that moved over. Okay, we need to load up all of these ground units immediately. Solarian survivors, combat engineers. Once loaded, what are we transferring? We're transferring a ton of militia, which is currently 44,000. Once loaded, head directly back towards Diana. Okay, we're now in 2181. Bunch of people have been promoted or will be promoted. So we've passed an entire year now. And part of that is that the 2181 budget now comes into effect. And with that budget, we see the expansion of naval shipyards. We will see further expansions of other areas. So in this regard, I'm going to just open up for expansion. So Perswell is going to be, we're going to be adding a second slipway, I believe, to Perswell. And Toledo is going to have capacity increased to 4,000 tons as the 2 initial building processes. But before we actually do the capacity or the actual slipway, we need to retool for the Owl class vessel. So the Owl. There we go. So the CSS Canary is going to be the first of the vessels. Shipyard fleet going to be constructed into. The Canary is on the way now. And now we're going to add the extra slipway in. And so that will require quite a bit of industry from us. Furthermore, I'm going to restart maintenance supply production as part of that. Actually, no, we're going to keep that off for now. And we are continuing our current research on to the vessels. Oh, also, I have to, before we construct that vessel, because again, I made a mistake, we have to delete this task, and I'm going to go to shipyards, construct a new vessel, I'm going to use components, and then we're going to create the shipyard fleet. So we need ship radar will be done, basic thermal detection, all these things will be done, and to get them done, we're going to have to wait a little bit. So wait a little bit, and then we'll use those to build other stuff. I believe we also surveyed New Jupiter, and we found nothing except for the 15th moon, which had some thorium and uranium on it, which is pretty good. So second military transportation fleet is now should be heading back. We're loading up forces, and now we're going to be heading back towards. We discovered a ruined settlement on Persephone, as well as an ancient construct on Persephone. That is of extremely importance, extreme value and importance to us. So if we have a look at Persephone, that is a moon. We're going to create a colony on that area. And how is our actual xenological work going? We have one on New Caprica, but we don't have anything anywhere else. I'm going to have the scientific transportation wing take one from the planet. I mean, we have xenological survey battalion. How many points do each of these individually provide us? So if I have a look at this, 45. So we need 2, realistically speaking. And we were training up a extra one, which will be done on January. So we'll wait for that one to be completed. There we go. So that's now completed. And that should now quicken the pace at which we are able to understand the situation we now find ourselves in. So we have Xenological Survey Battalion, Xenological Survey Battalion. And that should, over a year's span, be able to reveal anything that we need it to reveal. 6-inch naval gun has been completed, which is grand. That is fantastic news. And so now we're going to have to put the rest of the research into further areas. In this regard, we have sensors that we want to develop, other technologies that we want to build. And to do this, we're going to have to build up various things. And in my opinion, what most of the people have been going for is just better acquisition capabilities, better technologies, and so we're going to be diverting our research into that area. Okay, Parker beam suffered damage. Second transportation group is on the way. Reactor core construction completed on Earth, not Earth, New Solaris, excuse me. And now the question is what do we do with the expeditionary fleet? What do we do with this, right? What is it doing? What is the second military transportation group doing, man? It's got that battalion, it's got the combat engineers. It's got brick wall for some reason. Go to Vulcan. No, you want to go to Diana, you want to load up the first Confederate. Yeah, so you want to probably drop the tanks in first. Either way, I'm going to unload all forces onto the colony. There we go. So that's been loaded. So now on Diana, we should have following. We have 2 places that's called Diana, which is really annoying. But we can move these through to one place, which will work out easier for everyone. So second, third, and then we can just move all the militia in as well. And then this militia will allow us to just occupy, really, is the main purpose. Hopefully the population will come under our side, but you know, what can you do? If we have a look at the population, there we go. So it's now occupied. So it's not conquered, it's occupied, and so slowly they're going to start, you know, not being as annoyed about us. So on total on Diana right now, we have a total of 200,000 ground forces. 2 regiments, that's going to be 110,000 tons. Then we needed 2 armored battalions, and then combat engineers. So we would have to deploy forces in regards to combat engineer battalions. We'd have to deploy our tanks probably first, then we deploy the infantry, or we deploy the infantry, then the tanks. And then we would go from there. Either way, depending on what the Senate decides in the next episode, we may be invading Apollo. Now we have the forces and people ready to do so when required. This is going to be the end of the episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Not a lot happened in the actual episode, I felt, but we did manage to essentially establish more dominance within the system, handle most of the enemies, and do a lot of expansion and research. And our economy is starting to look up. Diana is now a part of the Confederation. If you're interested in helping alter the course of the Confederation, help change what we do with Diana, what we do to Apollo, what we do to this, head on over to the Discord, go and sign up for an election, go talk in the RP, get involved in the Senate, and do more, read the Constitution, do a lot more. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Really does help me out because they're becoming a member. There's a lot to make these videos, so if you can support me, it would be fantastic. Goodbye.